Skyr, a white yogurtish food found in supermarkets, health bars and an athlete's diet. Juliet and I have lived and worked for a total of 12 months on a dairy farm in Iceland. As you can guess, Skyr was consumed on a daily basis, straight from the farm, and we loved it. The family living at Efstidalur, the 300-year-old dairy farm we're talking about, produces Skyr in its purest form. A country known for glaciers, volcanoes and geysers might surprise the food enthusiast. In this video, you get to see everything you wanted to know about this famous Icelandic food product. We flew back to the Arctic Circle to meet with the Efstidalur family. From Keflavik International Airport, it's about 1 hour and a half to get to the farm, which is located in the Golden Circle. This area is home to the well-known geyser and is one of the most popular routes for tourism in the country. A perfect place to introduce traditional food to travelers from all over the world. We start with Linda, born and raised on the farm, and, of course, a specialist in dairy food.
My name is Linda. These are my parents. They retired 5 years ago, 6 years ago.
Yeah.
How many years?
No.
6 years ago.
Yeah.
And they kind of started this dairy production that we have here. Farmers in Iceland have been making skyr since, at least since 1750s when our family was here. Every farmer had their own culture, so I guess every skyr tasted a little bit different. So every farmer had their own skyr. And my grandmother, she told me one time that skyr kind of represented the agriculture on each farm. If we served bad skyr, we call it stallion skyr. And that would not be good. I guess people would start talking. Those times they would cook calf stomach to get the cultures, and they could use part of the previous skyr batch to make the next one. But today we just buy vegetarian rennet to keep up with the culture today.
People in the guest house, or the people who came to visit the farm, they all wanted to go to see the farming, to see the cows and go in there and to look at them and so on. And they were also very interested about the food. Yeah,
people showed a lot of interest in the products that we have been developing, and not developing, but making old products. And I guess people are showing more and more interest.
Good.
Just every year. I see a difference every year now since we started. And it's, I don't know, if I go to the States, I know I can go to Cheesecake Factory or get good Italian pizza somewhere else, but I guess skyr is becoming more like a legend for Iceland.
And the country, also known as the land of fire and ice, is loaded with legends. And in a country filled with legends and landmarks, travelers should find their way to the finest traditional food. That's what Isak is all about. Isak is the CEO of the company and part of the Efstidalur family. So Isak, tell me something about the Efstidalur farm.
Well, Gatti, Efstidalur is a 7th and I guess 8th generation dairy farm. So at our core we've got 45 cows milking down there. We have a Lely A4 robot that takes care of them for us. And then we rear maybe 50 to 60 bulls at one given time that we use for meats in the restaurant. We keep horses, we keep chickens, we keep rabbits. We have the place open to the public as a farm-to-table experience, so people can come here and try the beef from the farm. We make dairy products from the farm. We buy lots of local vegetables that we can use to create some local dishes, and we try to keep things here very just old school and traditional to the extent that we can.
And what about the menu here in your restaurant? Do you have some skyr included there as well?
Mostly we use it for presentation, so people come here and get a little farm tour and some tasting of these traditional products. Then they can try it just as it is. But skyr is quite versatile in the sense that you can actually make a lot out of it. Because it's kind of like a cheese yogurt hybrid, you can swing it either way to act like a cheese or like a yogurt. So for example, we serve skyr whipped with sugar and milk into almost like a yogurt for breakfast. But then in the restaurant we also use it, for example, in a skyr burger. There we add garlic and other seasonings and some cucumbers to make it almost like a tzatziki sauce. You can use that on a burger. We've made skyr ice cream in the past before. Now we've started to create a skyr chili con carne, so we use minced beef from the farm to make a chili con carne, and then instead of maybe your typical sour cream, we would add a skyr. Yeah, so my role here is more about, you know, how I'm going to get this skyr once it's actually made to the customers. But historically, skyr was always made by women on the farm. So the men were expected to be out working, and then food was always provided for by the women. It was a very female-dominated industry. When skyr first hits the market, this is by corporations owned by the women. And let's say in keeping with that tradition today, it's my cousins who are the ones that are actually making the skyr and know all about the history.
Dia is the staff manager at Efstidalur, born and raised in the Westfjords. She's all into the history of skyr food product.
Well, the history goes, it's as long as settlement in Iceland. We have been making this skyr over 1,000 years. And thankfully, the settlers, they knew how to make the skyr because I believe it was the thing that kept us alive through the centuries. Mostly also because of the byproduct of skyr making, which is the whey. Because people would make a lot of skyr to last through the winter, hopefully. They would keep it in a barrel where it would turn quite sour, but still it would be safe to eat. And the byproduct, which we get from draining the skyr in a linen bag, they would put that in a barrel and collect all the food they needed for the winter inside, where it would be safe to eat also, but turn very, very sour. And we actually call it sour food. Sometimes I call it the energy drink of the Viking because through the centuries we also drank a lot of the whey, of the missa. It was easy to access because they always had it in the house, and in the winter storms it would be hard in some places to get fresh water, so they would drink a lot of it. Icelanders had the belief for a long time, up until last century, that they were not allowed to bring food to the sea when they went fishing. They believed it would scare away the fish. So they would take the whey with them because they felt the energy it gave them rather than just plain water because of the protein and the nutrients.
Can you tell me something more about the sour food?
It's a big part of who we are. It's strange food. It's all the parts of the animal, the insides and the testicles and lamb penises even and cow's udder. But it's still a big part of who we are and how we survived, and so we like to celebrate that. But skyr is a part of our daily diet for most Icelanders, and it has been used in the last years in many different ways. Like when I was growing up, it was mostly just my grandma, she would mix it with sugar and cream. She was living on a farm where in the summer she had like a lot of grandchildren and workers, so maybe she had to feed like 15-20 people for lunch. So she would have fish or meat or whatever, and then she would use the skyr to fill everybody up, to make sure everybody was full and had energy for the rest of the workday. So nowadays people are experimenting more with the skyr, like making it into a dessert and mixing it with different types of, white chocolate. And traditionally it was just, if you wanted really nice skyr, you would mix blueberries. You would have fresh blueberries with it and cream, but now you can do anything with the skyr. We make a burger sauce from the fresh skyr. We make desserts like white chocolate or skyr cake, type of cheesecake that is actually fat-free because we make the skyr fat-free. In many different ways we are using it. Hvað segir þú, Harpa? Drekkur þú missu?
Já.
En það?
Það er mjög mikið að gera. Þá bara tek ég eitt skot.
Já.
So that's a nice story from Dia. What do you think about it?
I mean, I think it's just fantastic. I mean, the role of skyr really can't be understated in kind of the history of the Icelanders. I mean, it really was just a core product that everybody ate every day. We never really had, again, historically, before the war and before the First and Second World War and 1,000 years before that, Icelandic culture is very very much the same. The core of your diet is going to be meats and dairy, and the core of those dairy products is going to be skyr. It wasn't just something nice that you have sometimes. It was really the main focus of your diet was going to be skyr, or meats that are made to be preserved in the way that's coming out of the skyr. I don't think that I'm the expert for that. I think you should go and talk to my cousin Guðrún, who can walk you through exactly how she makes it.
Guðrún makes the magic happen. She turns milk to skyr, and not just skyr, but also to delicious ice cream and feta-style cheese. For now, we'll just stick to the skyr.
We get the milk from our dairy cows, which is just here in the same building. And we get it in big buckets over here, and then we need to skim it. We use the cream for the ice cream and the light milk for skyr and cheese. We put it in our big pot and pasteurize it. And then when the heating process is going down, we put skyr from previous batch, like I have here, and add it to the pot and let it wait overnight while the culture in the skyr is multiplying. Like the last step of making the skyr is to put it in a cheesecloth. Then we hang it up. So what we are doing differently from factories is that we are doing it the old traditional way of hanging the skyr in bags. So, and then the whey is draining from the bag, and we are getting this byproduct whey, which is not very much used today, but was a very important product to our ancestors. It's low in fat and rich in protein. If you have it, for example, for breakfast, you can go a long way with just having the skyr. It's very healthy, all natural, straight from our farm. And yeah, people seem to like it a lot, more than the whey.
Now, you might have seen skyr in the supermarkets at home. So do we. Skyr is sold everywhere in the Netherlands. We even found it in the shelves of supermarkets in Peru. Let's see what Isak has to say about that.
I think, of course, as with all things, you know, it's an Icelandic product, and it originates from here, and I think we're still the best at it, at least in my opinion, here in Iceland. So if you really do like it at home, I think it's great for people to come here and learn a little bit about how it's made, meet the people who are making it, you know, and really get a sense for the cultural significance that it always had.
Is it something which can become very popular for any food enthusiasts who are traveling here?
As with most travelers, there's a certain group that really wants to go maybe a little bit deeper into the culture and the history of the countries that they visit. So a lot of people are really curious. You know, they come here in winter and they look at the landscape and they just say, how did you people do this for hundreds of years? Like, there just can't be a chance that you could survive like that. And it's really nice for us to get people into the house and to tell them a little bit exactly about how our forefathers managed to survive here and how they managed to leave this kind of great society after them, considering all the hardship. The Icelandic nature really creates the food culture that we have. You know, you can look at this survivalist style food as just another component of the harsh but beautiful nature that you have here in Iceland.
So there's tour companies who are traveling day trips for tourists, and then they include a tasting of skyr here on the farm together with these big attractions, which are actually more famous than your food is.
Here at Efstidalur, we get maybe in high season now, June, July, August, we get maybe 300-400 customers to our restaurant every day, of which I would say maybe 60 or 70 are coming for a little bit of a chat about the history like we're having now. So they have this tasting and we give them some mini lecture talk about how it's made and how it was on the farm. I think people enjoy it. We enjoy it first and foremost. You know, it's a fun thing to talk about something you make and something you care about, and I think the visitors like it too. I think people like to have this personal touch. I mean, we've been running this business for this restaurant style business now for 10 years in this house. It's just, we're so happy and so proud to see that we're now maybe being talked about, you know, people that are going to go see Gullfoss and Geysir and Þingvellir, you know, the highlights of what Iceland has to offer in terms of natural beauty. We're being used now by some tour companies, you know, as a stop in there as well, where learning about agricultural history and about food history and trying some of these products, it's being put in the same context as just these most beautiful sites in the country. And we're proud to say that, and I'm really appreciative for all the people that come and visit us and try those things.
All right, and how does the future look like for a Skyr farm like yours?
I think the future is bright. I think so. Skyr is just internationally, and I don't know how much more popular it's gotten inland, but internationally it's really getting more and more popular. So I think there's a lot you can do with it. People are coming out with new recipes, new variants of Skyr all the time, and it's just so versatile, and there's so much that you could do with it. You know, I would love if we would get into the position where we could make even more of it. One, let's say, drawback of making things in old-fashioned small batch way is that it's a small batch. It takes a long time and you can't make much at a time. So we've been hoping that maybe over time we'll be able to expand our dairy making process a little bit. So we might, maybe one day we'll be able to sell elsewhere than just here right in our building.
I think it's great to see traditional food produced in small batches, with love and passion for the cultural value of it. As a travel platform, we highly recommend to put Efstidalur on your Iceland itinerary. It's the best place to taste the history of the country. Oh, and did we mention Linda also organizes horse riding tours to the Brúarfoss? It's a beautiful waterfall in the backyard of the farm. A visit to Efstidalur means you can have natural wonders and cultural food experience all at the same place. In the meantime, we're back home again in the Netherlands, where we can find Skyr in many different flavors. And even though it doesn't taste as good as Efstidalur Skyr, we still enjoy Iceland's national food. Takk fyrir.